All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Tom Kinser, and I'm here representing Bright Kitchen Power. You'll see some cards in your chairs out there. It's a new TRA Preferred Partner program designed to save you money on your energy spends, electricity, natural gas. You can find us in booth 1024, which is just the booth beyond the TRA membership booth and ProStart booth. It's on the Preferred Partner row. I'd love for you to come by the booth after the program and say hello and get acquainted. Now this morning I'm here to introduce Matt Platt. Matt started his marketing career in radio advertising in 1999 and a digital agency in 2008. Over the past 11 years, Matt has built an agency that focuses on one niche, and that's restaurants. Matt authored Don't 86 Your Restaurant Sales in 2018, and it's been a hit worldwide. The book walks you through how his program, the ROI Engine, helps restaurants build an engaged customer database and online following with trackable results. Matt, thanks so much for joining us today. Everyone, please give Matt Platt a round of applause. Thank you.
Can you all hear me okay? Cool. So a year and a half ago, I guess about almost 2 years ago now, when I wrote the book, Don't 86 Your Restaurant Sales, I wrote a book that was based around businesses creating an audience, because the problem I've seen with most businesses is they don't have a large enough audience to talk to. And what I mean by that is, everybody, I'm guessing you're all restaurant owners more than likely, the goal of your restaurant is to get more butts in the seats, drive traffic, get people back more often, give them a great experience. Like I had at Brisket House last night. The problem most restaurants have is they don't have enough people to talk to. And they rely on marketing to find people to talk to, spend money to get people in the seats. And a lot of times that's the wrong way to go about it, because what happens when you want to get more people in the seats, you got to spend more money. But when I wrote the book, it was based off of my experience I had seen that started with one comment, and that was a client of mine, Nick Ellison, in 2015, March 2015. We were spending about $40,000 a year for his 3 restaurants on Facebook and Instagram. And we were having huge results, lots of likes, comments, shares, people watching videos. And he came to me and he said, Matt, I can't go to US Bank and deposit a like. He said, I love that we're getting all of these things happening, but I don't know that it actually is selling food and selling beer. And I said, okay, that's fair. I said, I will challenge you on this. The $300,000 you're spending on radio and TV and direct mail, do we have any clue of anything there? Well, no, fair enough. I said, at least we have likes. I said, let me do this. Give me enough string to hang myself, and let me put a promotion out there that either shows you it works or it doesn't. Well, there was a great American holiday coming up called National Pretzel Day. Yeah. We all love these Hallmark food holidays. They were a German beer house with an amazing pretzel and beer cheese. That was their #1 P-Mix item. It was $9.99. It was ironically on a Sunday. Sunday was one of their worst days of the week. I said, Nick, let me do a buy one, get one free or a half off promo on the pretzel and beer cheese just to see if people are paying attention. I'll put it 3 places. Each Facebook page will spend $50 to target the audience that we've already cultivated and see if it works. Sunday, $18,000 in sales came in, 100% from those 3 Facebook posts. Tied 100% to it. The next morning, Nick called me and said, Matt, I can deposit 18 grand. Let's do this more. Well, then it got a little carried away, because then he started creating holidays. National Sauerkraut Ball Day, National Onion Ring Day. And about a month into it, I thought it was in April. The NRA show in Chicago was coming. I'm from Kentucky, so that was in Chicago, and like usually late May. And I found one problem. I said, okay, the problem with doing this is, yes, we proved that people are paying attention, and we proved that they're coming in and spending money, but I don't want that person coming back every week and getting a discount. I want to acquire the customer and then take them down a path. And so I went to the show in Chicago and thought, okay, it's like this. It's a lot more booths, but it's a bunch of booths. There was 450 marketing companies there. I went to that show and thought, I'm going to show up and I'm going to find a place that's got a program that lets me tie into this. And I didn't. And so over the next couple of years, I built a program around helping take digital marketing and drive it into a meaningful conversation, but more than anything, trackable. Because as he mentioned, my background is I sold radio in 1999. I sold it for 4 years. I loved radio. It was a fun business. I loved helping businesses. the part that scared the crap out of me the most, and I'm sure you have all had this, who in here has spent money on advertising? Everybody? How many of you have a really good understanding that every time you do it, it actually works? Probably not much. This guy, he's the only genius. And we're going to kidnap him later and take all his knowledge. But when I was in radio, my most awkward conversation was when I walked in and talked to a restaurant or a car dealer. I didn't want to ask them if it was working. Number one, I didn't know. Number two, they probably didn't know, and I didn't want to lose a client. So it was like this weird dance of just having a relationship. And I had clients that were spending $5,000 to $10,000 a month that they thought it worked. I mean, I don't know, that more people came in last week than this time last year. Well, was that because the Reds and Cardinals were playing? Is that because it was sunny versus raining? And so when I started this journey with Nick and helping him realize how we can deposit likes, I wanted to figure out a way to show ROI, because that's the biggest thing. Marketing is you throw money against the wall, you hope it works. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Is I'm going to talk about how social media and email marketing have changed and how you can take that conversation to Facebook Messenger. Is anybody here using Facebook Messenger from a business standpoint? I know that guy is. You are? Anybody using it automated where people go down a very specific journey? Facebook Messenger, to put it in I guess, the perspective, is what email was 20 years ago. Who in here was doing email for their business in 1999? 1999, my dad, my brother, and myself, when I was in radio, opened up a boat and RV dealership from scratch. I bought a book on how to design a website, and we built Outdoor Consignments, a website that consigned RVs and boats in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. About 3 or 4 months in, we went to a show, we gathered a bunch of emails, we had done a bunch of marketing. We had an email list of about 1,000 people. And I sent an email to these 1,000 people. And this was me, I'm 43 now, so I would have been right around 23 then. And I sent this email out, I had no clue what I was doing. And no lie, 600 people replied to it. And I remember, I was working in radio full time, that's before laptops, that's before smartphones. I remember having a Nokia, and I was scared if my boss called me if I had enough minutes. And so I had no way of replying to these emails except at home. And so I would go home at 7 o'clock at night from the radio station, I'd email people, and it took like 2 weeks, I think, to reply to all these emails. And I remember thinking, holy crap, this is really cool. People are engaging. If I sent 1,000 emails today, how many people would reply? One, somebody would tell me to screw off. Somebody would tell me to take me off their list, even though there's a button that says unsubscribe and they can't read it. So that's what's happened with digital marketing, is that people are accustomed to using email from 20 years ago, which worked amazing. Still can work good today, done correctly. And then also social media. So what I'm going to talk about today is why your audience is gone and how to get them back, and then how to drive them in through trackable metrics through Facebook Messenger. So number one, you can't see this great, but this is an email snapshot. When I was doing this on paper, it looked great. When you're in front of a screen, it's a little blurry. Unless you got the greatest LASIK vision, you can't see that. But I'll tell you what it says. It basically is a guy's restaurant, a fast food, 2-location chicken place. Their email open rate ranges between 12 to 15%, which means on a given time they send an email, 4,000 of their customers aren't even opening it. So they're talking to 5,500 people they think, they intend, but 4,000 never open it. And it's because the messaging is irrelevant a lot of times. I got an email recently for college night. Well, this on my finger, a wife of 20 years and 2 kids are telling me I'm probably not going to go to college night, and if I do, it's not going to end up well. A guy that works for me who's 25, single with no kids, doesn't want to get a kids eat free email. And so what's happened is people like myself and people like you have ruined email marketing because we've sent out communications that don't relate to our customers. The next aspect is social media. I remember I started my agency, my first client in 2008 was with a company that paid us $250 a month. I got this little earpiece on, it's weird. So I keep moving it, it's what it is. But they paid us $250 a month to manage their social media. If they had 1,000 fans and you made a post, a lot of those 1,000 saw it. 500, 600, 700 people. Your reach was up there. It was back before it was pay to play, which isn't a bad thing because paid Facebook advertising and Instagram is a gold mine if you use it correctly. But back then, if you made a post, and again, you can't see this here, but this is a page of 1-location pizza restaurant in Eastgate, Ohio, which is near Cincinnati, that has a fan base of 5,000 people, 4,900. On average, about 500 people see those Facebook posts. So that means that the majority of their audience isn't even seeing it. And so the goal I want to show you today is a couple things. What if you could get that audience back? What if you could take that 5,000 person email list, that 5,000 reach Facebook page, and actually talk to 5,000 people? And that's what we found we can do. So this top thing, this is here, the tale of two journeys. And so this is if you have an email that goes out or a Facebook message that goes out. And now Messenger is actually not called Facebook Messenger anymore. It's called Messenger because they are in the process of integrating Instagram and WhatsApp. So probably in the next 3 to 6 months, you'll be able to log into the Messenger app as a business or a consumer and use it for multiple things. Well, the top part here is imagine traditional email. You send 5,000 emails, you get a 20% open rate. What's everybody's open rates in here on email? Anybody know? 20%, 30? 12? So okay, you send, in this case, I got 20%, so I'm being generous. You got 5,000 people on your list that you send an email to. That means 1,000 are going to open it. You typically get about 5% engaged, meaning they click, they reply, they do what you ask them to do, which means you get about 50 people. And at the end of the day, you more than likely probably don't have a lot of people walking to your restaurant and going, hey, I'm here to eat because I saw your email and those onion rings look great. So you have no way of converting. You have no way of tracking whether it worked. And that's the biggest problem, is spending money and not knowing what happens. The only good thing about my wife and daughter going shopping yesterday was I actually saw the pictures of what they bought. Whereas if I spent money on marketing my company a lot of times, or I did an email like this, or I bought a radio commercial, a lot of times I don't actually see what happens. And so one thing I hammer people on is whenever you spend $1, understand what it produces, because then you can at least cancel it or not. I had a client in Denver last year. I called and said, Jim, you need to fire us. Why? It's not working. But dude, we got this big database you built in Messenger. I'm like, they're not coming in. Apparently they're homeless and don't like hot dogs. So it wasn't worth spending the money to build it. So if you can understand what you're spending money on, whether it's working or not, it's great. Well, the same exact conversation below is in Facebook Messenger. 80% open rates. We've got 100 plus restaurants. I also work with agencies around the world that have, we represent probably 1,000 plus restaurants. It is all day, every day, 80 to 90% open rates in Facebook Messenger. Meaning that if you send 5,000 messages in Messenger, 4,000 people open it. That means you just had 3,000 more conversations than you did with email. The next best part is the engagement. If you do Messenger correctly and you talk to people about who they are and what they do, and you can find out some great information, I'll tell you in a second, is you get engagement. We see on a low end 40% engagement, meaning that 1,600 people instead of 50 reply. I think everybody can agree that if 1,600 people touch and feel your product in Facebook Messenger and tell you something or answer a question or take an action, that's going to lead to more engagements, more conversations. Conversion, as I'll show you in a second, we've got it built where we can track what people do in Messenger. I can track that they get a promotion from you. They take that promotion, they come into the restaurant, they spend money. After they spend money, you ask them some questions. Hey, thanks for visiting today. Would you like to win a $25 gift card? If so, answer 3 quick questions. 90% of them answer it. When you come to the restaurant, you come with family or friends. If they answer family, probably got a ring on their finger with kids. You know that marketing message they would want to see would be different. When you come to the restaurant, do you eat lunch, dinner, or both? We ask those questions to find out where they work or live. I live in Union, Kentucky. I work in downtown Cincinnati. I never eat lunch in Union. I'm not there. So if you send me the greatest lunch promotion in the world, I can't use it because I'm not there. So quit wasting your time on it. So we find out why they eat at the restaurant when. And then last but not least, we find out what questions they ask if they have kids to make sure that's it. And then what we do is we build a conversation to find out more as we go along. You know, are they sports fans? Are they not sports fans? Are they soccer fans? Are they baseball, football? And the goal over the course of 6 months to a year is to build out a profile that, hey, we've got 5,000 people in Facebook Messenger, of which 1,500 are married, 2,000 aren't, 700 have kids, 1,700 don't. These like motorcycles, these like the Bengals, the Reds, whatever. So normally I say Bengals somewhere and people boo me because Midwest down here you guys laugh, like Bengals. Is that a tiger? So the conversation is there. Now here's the next part of this. As I'll show you in a second, we use Facebook and Instagram to drive engagement. Because the more engagement you drive, the more Facebook likes you. This is an example, again, you can't see it, but if you were to see it, there's a little orange circle on that top timeline. That is when we kicked off this promotion with this restaurant. Their average Facebook post went from being seen by 500 to 600 people to being seen by 1,300 to 1,500 people. Why? As I'll show you in a minute, we got a lot of engagement. We took that engagement not off of Facebook onto a landing page, we took it into Facebook Messenger. Facebook loves it when you keep their stuff. It's like here, you have soft drinks at your burger place, right? Imagine if you didn't have soft drinks. You wouldn't want somebody to go next door and get soft drinks because then they buy their fries there. Well, that's what happens. A lot of marketing is a lot of marketing plans take people off of the medium. Like a grocery store would never send you down the street to get milk. Oh, the bread's over there, the milk's here. We only have peanut butter. Well, Facebook and Instagram are the same. They want you to stay in their globe, their world. And so we're taking them from Facebook or Instagram into Messenger, their own property. Facebook's algorithm sees that. So they see, as I'll show you here in a second, how that got a lot of exposure. So I'll get to that in a couple minutes. But the biggest thing I want to talk about here with all this now is we've got Facebook Messenger, which gets a lot of great open rates and engagement. We've got social media reach, which can come back if you do it correctly. But the biggest part is understanding how to build your audience. I have a saying that I use a lot on the left. That's my drawing. I'm an amazing artist. I don't know what this guy is cutting back here, but sorry, I'm like that little dog. It's like squirrel, and I see him cutting. I don't know if that's good food or he's sharpening knives. But this graphic on the top left was something I drew. And it's something I always preach about, is that businesses, especially restaurants and retail companies, always spend money on advertising to drive sales. How many people in here have had a conversation that said, hey, last month sucked, we need to up it next month and spend some money and buy radio, direct mail? You guys have all done something, right, to try and trigger sales? Well, what's happened is you've rented an audience. Why can a radio station charge $200 for a commercial? Because they have an audience they've cultivated that is listening. And so you're buying their audience. Well, the problem is when you spend money to advertise your company to drive sales, all you've done is rented and you have a short-term success. What I ask everybody, whenever you spend $1 on marketing, is how is it helping me build an audience? Driving an Instagram following, driving a Facebook following, building an email list, a messenger list, a text list, hell, a direct mail list. Do something to drive data so that you have an audience that you own. Because if in a year you're sitting here and you have 5,000 more people on a messenger list that is your database, and you go, hey, last week was terrible because the Bengals were in town and nobody went to the game. Let's do something different. And you got a list that you can now talk to in a different manner. So that's what I always hammer people is spend money to build an audience, not to drive sales. And that's what, if you do that, you can now keep going back to your audience. On the right, this is a one-location pizza business that I showed you in that post. They've got 5,200 people in a messenger database. You can see every dollar they spend in their marketing is going to build that messenger and email list so they can constantly go back to it. So this is a Facebook post for that restaurant. One location pizza place. If you guys can see this number on the very bottom that says 4,800 comments. Has anybody in here ever had a Facebook post get 4,800 comments? You haven't. I know you haven't because I scoured the internet for it. I compared this location in a case study to Culver's national campaign and beat them. The reason is you build social media to get engagement. What happened with this Facebook post, how I showed you earlier, how those people, their Facebook engagement went up, how they went from reaching 500 people to 1,500 people, is that we had a post that got a lot of attention. Facebook saw this and said, hey, this page typically gets 7 people comment, and it's typically the owner's wife and mom and cousin. Now it's got 4,800? What's going on? Well, what Facebook does, they look and say, okay, birds of a feather flock together. Let's start showing people that look like these 4,800 people. Well, the next level to that is whenever people commented on this, they went into a Facebook Messenger program. In Facebook Messenger is a product we use called ManyChat. ManyChat is a software that ties into Facebook Messenger and Facebook. And what it allows you to do is trigger audiences. So in this case, it's called the Comment Growth Tool. that when those 4,800 people commented on that Facebook post, they were automatically sent a message in Facebook Messenger that said, hey Matt, thanks for commenting on our post. Now granted, there's rules on how you do this. The Facebook post clearly spelled that out. It said, let us know your favorite topping for pizza. When you let us know, we will send you a message in Facebook Messenger. When we send you that message, you're going to get a promotion, a buy one, get one free pizza. You'll be subscribed to a VIP program. So you have to spell out why you're sending it. You can thank the elections to that, because a couple years ago, every politician was like, hey, you love chocolate milk, comment below. And you commented and you got a message about voting for them. You're like, what? What is this? So Facebook came out with their transparency rules on ads. They came out with a lot of different things. They actually had these rules before. They just never enforced them. But what happens is when people comment on that post, it takes them to Messenger. And we say, hey, Matt, thanks for commenting. Give us your email address below to get enrolled in the VIP program. They give us their email address, and we deliver a one-off promotion. The reason we deliver that one-off promotion is to drive them into the restaurant. Why? Do I want a discount? No. But I want to prove that the people that opted in will actually take action. If you look me up on Facebook, I'll give you a little thing in a minute. You can send a message in and it'll do this. But I looked yesterday. I did a video yesterday on Facebook. If you look, you'll see a Matt Plapp, and it's got this on it. That's not a fist, by the way. That's MP. But you'll see that, and that's my logo. And you can see the page. I did a video last night in the hotel room. Company we work with, a 10-location pizza restaurant in Arkansas. Their campaign kicked off almost 3 weeks ago. We've spent around $800 on the ads on Facebook and Instagram. It's built a database of like 1,700 people. 19% of those people have come in the restaurant within 3 weeks already and spent like $3,800. And the cool part about that is I can now attribute, okay, I did this marketing effort, I built this audience spent money. When you can prove that, now you're able to tangibly put a number behind your efforts. But then you're also able to market better because Facebook sees that. Facebook sees that people not only saw your ad, but they engaged in your ad, they engaged in Messenger multiple times, and then if you do it correctly, you build a custom audience, and you tell Facebook, hey Facebook, you targeted these 10,000 people last time we marketed. Now I want you to target these 10,000 people who look just like the people who spent money in my restaurant the past 6 months. And now Facebook's algorithm goes, oh, okay. Because a lot of people don't realize when you're on your phone, and they'll say you put a post for on your Facebook page for your business or on Instagram, and a consumer scrolls by and doesn't stop. Does anybody know what that's called? It's called negative feedback. Facebook's algorithm knows that Mark didn't stop on that Facebook post. And their algorithm says, hey, Mr. Restaurant, you're not doing your job. You targeted Mark, and Mark didn't stop. You get enough negative feedback, your campaigns don't work as well. But on the other hand, when you get a Facebook post that gives 4,800 people that not only stop, typically click something, but also comment, now they go, oh man, they got a lot of positive feedback, and they charge you less. Imagine if you charged customers less for being a good customer and eating. Imagine if you walked out and you saw me sitting there being a jerk, and you have my brother next to me who's a lot nicer than me, and you said, hey Sam, your burger is $3 today, Matt's is $8. That doesn't happen. Facebook's does, Instagram's does, Google's does, YouTube's does. Their algorithms are set up to reward businesses that use the platform the best. Because if people have a negative experience on Facebook or Instagram or Messenger, they don't use it as much. When they don't use it as much, what can't Facebook sell? Advertising. So the cool part about Messenger also that I love is that you can chart out a journey. So, and by the way, do you have a time on me? Huh? Okay, cool. My bad. I talk a lot, so I could be here till like 10 p.m. and I don't want to get security in here. I already got yelled at for the carpet in my booth. I don't need to have security after me. But the cool thing I love about this is where a lot of people mess up on marketing. This is why I love Messenger, is you can chart out a journey. So what you're seeing here is month 1, acquire new customers. When we acquire a new customer, and if you, by the way, if you want this, let me know afterwards. I can email this whole thing to you. I can give it to you, all the information on it. And also, if any of you want to have a conversation or a copy of my book, I've got some back in my booth, but I've got them here as well. You can have a free copy of the book. It lays out a lot of this. But it's a conversation that's charted out based on the customer's conversation with us. So month 1, You can see up there it says acquire new customers. Well, below there it talks about get their birthday and send a survey. And then month 2 and 3 is our goal is to get them to walk in the restaurant and spend money on one of the promotions, because when they spend money on one of the 4 promotions, it lets me pigeonhole them. I know that if Matt Plapp comes to Rapid Fire at Eastgate and spends $28 and the normal customer spends $11.50, Matt Plapp has a family. He bought our family pack. I know that if Matt comes in and gets a dessert pizza, it's this. If he gets an appetizer, it's this. But what we do is month 2 and 3, we're now charting out who is this customer. And what happens by month 4, and this is a rolling number because people that opt in January get the month 4 in March and April. When people roll into month 4, I've got so much data on them that I can have a really specific conversation. I can talk to people about that are female, that are male, that are married, that are single, that have kids, that don't have kids, that spent $5 on their last visit or spent $20. A great example, I said, I'm the jerk, my brother's a little nicer. My brother's the cheap one, I'm the one that spends money stupidly. So restaurants would love me. If you see me in a database, you see my brother who tips 15% exactly. Sandy, if you're watching, sorry, but it's just what it is. I got it on Facebook Live over here. And also he's more money conscious, and he might spend $15 on this. I don't really pay attention, I just spend it. I'm like, you know what, if I die tomorrow, we'll have fun, I got insurance, the kids will be good. You can have that conversation differently. And it also allows you to walk people down a different line. So that's the goal of that last part, is how can I build a lot of data and have a conversation with people based on what they've done in the past, not based on guessing. This is the part of why I love radio from my past, and it gave me a lot of insight into marketing. I hated it because it's such BS, a lot of marketing is. You have no clue who's actually listening or watching. And if you go out and say, hey, we're a radio, like my radio station I worked at, WGRR, we targeted 35 plus men and women. It was an oldie station, it was baby boomers. We didn't know who actually was listening. But on digital media, you know. When I send out a message in Messenger to my database in month 4, and we send out 8 messages. I had a meeting Friday with my team in Cincinnati, and we were scoping out the audience. And I said, we have to do a better job, because we do a pretty good job. I think we need to do an amazing job. We've got 8 different audiences pretty much at all times. There's no reason we shouldn't be having a specific conversation every time with those 8 audiences. Because the more specific you get, the better. Has anybody ever watched one of those TV commercials that comes up and says, are you a male that has this problem? You go, no. Do you sleep at night like this? And you ever seen those? They ask you like questions and you always jokingly go, no, no, no. Well, the cool thing about this in Messenger, when you build it correctly, you don't have those questions because you already know. You know that I'm a guy, you know that I'm married, you know that I have kids, you know I've redeemed 3 offers, you know I've spent more than the average customer, so you know I redeemed a dessert pizza. So you send me a message like I'm going to show you here in a second that has a very specific call to action. So again, you can't see this, but this is the dashboard in Facebook Messenger. These are broadcasts that were sent from September to February. Very similar to your email marketing. The top one was a test, don't pay attention to that. But you'll see in the far right, there's 2 columns that are a pinkish color. The left one is the read rate or the open rate. The right one is the engagement rate. I'll read them to you. The read rate starting at the top, 88%, 84%, 97%, 92%, 94%, 95%, 99, 98, 96. Has anybody in here besides Al Gore, when he created the internet, ever had 96% email open rates to a big audience? No, you haven't. The cool part about this, you'll see on October 10th, there was a combo meal broadcast sent to 623 people. So ask yourself this, if you're a restaurant, if you're James from Kirby's, and you have a list of 5,500 people, why would you only send a message to 500, 600 people, 623? Because we know who they are. We don't have to waste the communication. It's like if you sent me an email tomorrow or a message tomorrow on a Ford Mustang, it would not appeal to me. I don't like Ford Mustangs. But if you sent me one on a Ferrari, I'm like, hell yeah. It's the same thing here. We're having conversations with specific audiences. And if you look, this client has 5,600 people in their database. These messages, top to bottom, sent 1,400, 2,200, 14, 37, 4,000, 27, 623, 721, 21. The only one that was sent to a mass audience, 4,095, was their Calzone broadcast. It was a quick 5-second GIF type video in Messenger to announce they had calzones. Had no call to action, just guess what we have now, calzones. They never had them. Guess what they sold a ton of the next 2 weeks? Calzones. People came in like, bro, I saw the broadcast. Good customers. So here's what I was talking about a minute ago. This is a conversation in Messenger. And this is the cheesy stick, and we also did this with the dessert pizza. We targeted, in this case, 2,129 people. And we targeted those people based off of their past purchasing behavior in Messenger. And to give you a quick example how this works, because you might be confused, because a lot of this is easy to me. You send a promotion in Facebook Messenger. I walk into your restaurant. I sit down, I eat lunch. Your server comes up with the check. You, oh, by the way, I've got my free Parmesan fry. Oh, sweet. Do me a favor. Take your phone out. Show it to me. Let's click redeem twice because there's a fail safe. Enter 1833. That's your net check amount. Click redeem. Boom. Now you know Matt Platt came in, redeemed this promotion, got this much money. The customer knows how to do it, especially after the first time. The server knows how to do it because it's really easy. But that allows us to track. And so when we track that, we now then turn around and we send a message to 2,129 people that are very specific around this cheesy stick promo. Well, guess what happened? It was delivered to 2122. So it wasn't delivered to 7 people. They probably had turned Facebook off on vacation, who knows what. 2,109 of 2,122 opened it. I'm not showing you this example because it's our best. I'm showing you it's pretty damn common. Because when you have a specific conversation, people pay attention. I've seen this so many times in marketing gone wrong. People show marketing to people that doesn't relate to them. I also own a CrossFit gym. When I get on Facebook, because of my Amazon purchases, I will see stuff from different companies selling me chalk for the gym, climbing ropes, GHD machines. If I were to get on there and see women's workout apparel, I should be concerned. Either they're bad advertisers or I have a habit I don't know about. So, just a laugh. There we go. I got some good laughs. So the conversation was up by 99%. The very bottom part, 47.7% of the people clicked the message. And this message was basically asking them a question about the restaurant to get them to engage in a non-sales manner. When they clicked the message, it opened up a conversation. And within a month, 150 people came in and spent $2,500. So from a marketing standpoint, this restaurant knows when we send out very specific questions to very specific people that relate to them based on their past history with our business, they respond. And when they respond, they spend money. And from talking to restaurants, I mean, I'm guessing if you had you had a way to drive an extra $2,500 here and there, that's beneficial. This is how you can do Facebook advertising and Instagram at a different level. This, for example, is that client. This is Rapid Fired Pizza. This is a dashboard that we've built that helps them monetize what they've done. And I built this in 3 ways, 3 columns for 3 reasons. All advertising's goal, the number one advertising goal of any piece of marketing you buy is to get awareness. The number one reason I do anything around my house that helps out is to get awareness from my wife. That I do something and I actually get acknowledged for it, because I typically do the opposite. Like the other night, I came home, I put a box of my books on the counter, I put my computer back on the counter, I came back in 5 minutes later, they were gone. I'm like, what happened? She's like, that's not where they go. I'm like, damn. The goal is to get awareness. In this case, this company has had 589,667 impressions on their marketing, Facebook and Instagram, the past, I think it's 14 months worth of data. Below that, those impressions drove 14,000 engagements. Engagements meaning they liked to post, they commented, they clicked, they shared. Below that is the cost. Because if you think about it, if you were to go spend $12,397 on a radio campaign in the next 12 months, all you actually know is that you supposedly reached a bunch of people. Now imagine if you knew that engagement led to a database. So in this case, we know with Rapid Fired Pizza Eastgate that those engagements led to 5,491 people going into Facebook Messenger and saying, hey, I want more information. Here's my email, here's my subscription. And at the end of the day, here's my money. Because you look at the next column, this is our most important tactic. The most important thing I have to do is prove that those 5,491 people are valid customers. Because does it do any good to build a database of people who won't spend money with you? No. I can go to India right now and buy a list of 100,000 customers in this area and give them to you for your restaurant. If they don't know, like, or trust you, your open rate is going to be terrible. They're not going to come spend money with you. It's a waste. In this case, I'm trying to prove that these people spent money. 1,737 of them, or 31.63% of that database physically walked into Zach's restaurant and spent money. And so now we can attribute that and go, okay, one, those people spent $39,000, so on a good thing, $12,397 led to $39,000 in instant sales. That's not profitable, but it covered the cost of the program. The cool part about it is I now have 5,491 people that I can reach back to whenever I want. Because our goal in marketing isn't, especially in this thing with Messenger, isn't to only get customers in a program to discount. Because if you keep doing that, you become Arby's. I heard a story about Arby's in Cincinnati. This is 20 years ago when I was in radio. I'm talking to the guy, Bill Mason, who was the marketing director for the local franchise group, RMI, and he was showing me this little spreadsheet they had. And the spreadsheet had their sales. It looked like a heart monitor for somebody with a bad problem. I said, what is this? He said, well, you see where it spikes? He goes, yeah, that's where we had 5 for $5, 2 for $6 beef and cheddars. He said, you see when it's dead? He goes, yeah, that's when we did nothing. He said, Arby's told us 10 years ago to not do what we were going to do in marketing because it would lead to people only walking in when we spent money, gave them something for free. We proved them right. And so what I tell a lot of businesses is that you shouldn't use discounting from a manner to drive sales all the time, but you should do it to build a database. And in this case, I have a known database of people that have done business with this restaurant. I get data from them. Every time I give them something, I get something, so that in 4 months, I don't have to give them something because I know Matt Plapp loves the ribs at Walt's Hitching Post in Northern Kentucky, and he's a guy that's married with kids. All I got to do is send him a link to make reservations and a picture of our steak, and he's like, oh, snap, I'm going. So that's what I've got. What I would encourage you to do, if you want to find out more, go to TRA Show, and maybe I'll get it wrong afterwards, come see me, .live/Matt. Or look me up, Matt Plapp, on Facebook. You can see my logo is a big fist, MP. You can message my page, the word demo. When you message the word demo, it'll take you into Facebook Messenger, and it'll show you what I've been talking about, give you a lot of information. I will free of charge meet with anybody. I do consultations all the time just from a helping standpoint, not a sales pitch. Showing you this because the more of you that do this correctly, the better it makes it for all of us on Facebook and Instagram marketers, because Facebook and Instagram like it when people do it better. So that's all I got. I think I'm done. I'm going to take this giant donut and run off stage. Thank you all.